Outer Orange.
Hello and welcome. I got my scrunchy business going on. We're in Scrunchie Town. Boop, 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 Scrunchie Town. Hot minute since I've talked about a premium profile. I think the last one I did was like Grand Blue, right? Yeah, today I'm gonna talk about profile. Zena was really curious about a premium Meer list that I've been taking to my streams recently. So I don't think he's the only one actually. I think I've had a couple people kind of ask me like, oh, what's that Meer list? What does it do? Blah, blah, blah. So here's the video. Here's the list. And I am using deck log. So I've been noticing some people, I think it's mainly Kai that I've seen so far, might be Solom too. I think Solom on his premium log uses this as well. But anyway, so I've been using this. I want to try something different to kind of showcase you guys a deck list, so aside from like, you know, my hand movement and stuff like that. So we're gonna try this out just for the funds. So here it is. Here's the Meer list. We got our grade 3s, 2s, 1s, and our stride. I'll go ahead and talk about the kind of like from here on. So of course this is a Meer Cyclone list, so of course it's gonna have Meer, it's gonna have Cyclone. This deck is kind of like a combination of like a 2-in-1 type of package. So you have your Meer side of the deck, and then you also have your Cyclone Superior Ride chain aside end of the list. So here we have Meer. She's in Japanese, but here I'll give you kind of like an English version of her. So Meer's skill is pretty much at the beginning of your main phase. You can add a gift into your hand. So you pretty much take one of these and you put it into your hand, right? So the only reason this is like very viable, at least in like this deck, is because like Sandy is a G guard, right? Sandy exists. So Sandy's a G guard, and literally the G guard lets you gain 5k for like every 2 cards in hand. So literally the gifts count, so it kind of pushes that end of it. But also on top of that, so at the beginning of your battle phase, if you reveal 2 of the presents, you actually get to literally counterblast and heal a card. Also, for every present you reveal, your rear guards get power. They gain power by 5k. So pretty much what happens is that your rear guards, your vanilla rear guards, are going to get really, really strong. On top of the fact that if you put the Cyclone end of it, so as you guys may or might not know, Storm Element Cyclone literally states for every copy of itself that's flipped up, all your rear guards gain 5k that do not have any continuous act or auto abilities. So with Meer and Cyclone combined, you can make your rear guards get really, really high. But that's kind of like the beginning of where the deck list goes. So that's like the Meer end. You can choose to go into Meer and kind of have like a defensive playstyle, especially if you go first. You can kind of like take a chill, have fun. You can actually just not even stride if you really want to, and just kind of chill on her. But I don't fully recommend it. I think the point is you want to stride, but you can choose to stay on her and just kind of keep it chill until you want to like do stuff. So it's a really good slow mechanic. But then you also have the Thunder Element Cyclone end. So this is Thunder Element Bulgarian, I think his full name is. This is Bulgarian, and he is a very, very interesting card. So this is the beginning of your like ride deck situation. I'll just go ahead and talk about it through here. I don't really need exactly the translation, but pretty much just says when placed, to use Soul Blast 1. Look at top 7. Look at top 7 for pretty much a vanilla, and you take 2 and put it into your hand. So it's a big plussing engine. And then other skill states: if you have 4 vanilla units on the board, you can stride a Cyclone face up. So this is kind of beginning of Superior Ride engine. And the way you would actually get into this card, because it is a 1-place skill, you actually do it with this grade 2 right here. So this grade 2 right here literally states once per turn, if you have 4 vanilla units on the board, you can counterblast, search for the grade 3, ride it on top, and then if you do that, you flip a Cyclone face up, right? So you literally just do the entire engine and you go into it. And with 2 counterblasts, you can go from grade 2 all the way to your stride. So you go from this girl right here into this boy right here into the Cyclone down here. And if you do this like on your first turn, like your first like aggro turn, you will probably only have like 1 face up unless you get like your Tempest Spheres going. But if you have multiple, then you can actually make this really strong. Now, why is this even important? Well, your Cyclone actually restands your vanillas, or it restands your board. So like your Cyclone states when he swings, like when he swings and his drive check reveals vanilla units, it has to be normal units, by the way, so your crits and heals do not count. But pretty much when he swings and does stuff, you can restand columns. So you can restand your vanillas, restand your attackers. Keep in mind you can get a force marker onto this and kind of make it even crazier. And that's kind of like the whole gimmick of Superior Riding. And if your opponent gives you that 2 counterblasts early on, you can literally just end game right then and there. But going on into it, that's the Superior Ride. So that's the Superior Ride end of the deck. In between all of it, we also have to have like the meat and bones, right? 3 power, double crit girl, because she just gets really high after some time. This is Melita, or Whispering Wavelet Melita. So pretty much you need her to just kind of push that extra aggro. So keep in mind that the grade 3 Thunder Element guy does not give you force markers. So to kind of avoid that, you can run 2 copies of her, and you can literally just gain a crit. So she gains a crit, and then if you put the power of Meer and put the power of the Cyclone on it, literally she just becomes like, if you just say like, say you have 2 Cyclones opened up, right? So 2 Cyclones means that she's a 13k hitter already on her own because that's 5k each, right? So you could, and if you put the booster in the back, it just keeps going. And then if you put she restands, she just does a lot. Along with that, of course, we have the regular 10ks. We have 3 of each. These are your 10k vanilla boys and girls. And then that's pretty much the entire grade 2 lineup. Going to the grade 1 lineup, I do run one vanilla copy because there just isn't enough vanillas in the deck. In the clan, there's only one version of vanillas outside of the air element girl. But I run one Sonata. This is the very basic grade 1 Sonata. So long as you don't have any melody units on the board or anything like that, this will stay as a vanilla. This skill down here does not activate. Pretty much it shares other melody unit abilities, but as long as it can't share anything, it'll stay vanilla. It's just nice, another unit that you can pretty much drive check and just sort of do pop up your restands. Going on in, of course, you have 4 of the air elements or light elements of Makira. You need that to just, you know, have more vanillas. Rerun Sazan because Sazan is dumb and you need him. Pretty much when place Soul Blast 1, place 2 normal units to the board. If you place 2, you draw 2 cards and flip a Cyclone. Pretty much just lets you just start your G stuff like as soon as possible. Your Generation Break just starts early. If you get this on your turn 1, you can actually just have an even dumber Stride turn, and it just kind of amplifies things. Of course, you want to run this to force your opponents to have to to have to attack your Vanguard. So if they want to try and deny you, they just can't. So that's why we keep that on the board. You want to run 4 vanillas. This is the regular vanillas. This is the only vanillas that Bermuda has. That's a grade 1. So you run 4 of these. This is mid vocal, mid vocal something. This is, I don't think this part's right. The translation is a little off. Then you want to run 1 Hanoi because you want to deal with stupid stuff. And if you don't want to die, the deck does like stay very defensive. But of course, if a deck loops like 50 times, you're gonna eventually die. So you don't want that to happen. So that's why Hanoi is out for that. Of course, we want to run a starter, and that's pretty much the main part of the main deck. Going into triggers, we run the over trigger. As I mentioned, for the restand, you need to have your normal units to be vanilla, not your triggers. So you can actually run vanilla triggers if you want, or you can just run these triggers. This is the stride trigger, which means you can stride into things without having to have a grade 3. Really good in this deck because we actually do not run too many grade 3s. And in case you want to go back to Meer or something like that, it'll be really hard if you don't have a grade 3. So this kind of helps you with that. And then we have the GB girl. You soul blast quite a lot in this deck. This skill literally says put into soul to draw a card, right? Give 10k to Vanguard when your Vanguard attacks. So this is just really nice to replenish your soul as you soul blast here, you soul blast here, you soul blast with Meer. You do soul blast a significant amount. It's not like crazy, like you don't like, you know, you're not gonna die, but you do soul blast a good amount. And usually early on it doesn't really matter. But if you want to just reride twice, for instance, if you want to do this twice off of her, because you can keep doing this, by the way, if you have like 2-3 copies in the board, you can keep utilizing this as long as you have the 4 so you can only do it with 2 copies, but as long as you have the 4 vanillas, you can just keep doing this reride. I only run 2, so keep in mind, like, you can only rewrite as many times that there are in your deck. So if you have 2 in deck, you can only rewrite twice, but once they're out of deck, you can't do this anymore. You can up this if you want, but it's up to you. Anyway, so yeah, so we run this just for extra soul. I run extra draw just because you need draw. Then we have the 4 heal, we got the Kirk, and then we have the Tempest. Oh, Tempest Sphere is all the way down here. This is the other grade 1. But Tempest Sphere lets you pretty much flip stuff, start your Generation Break early, and you get to actually counterblast to look at top 7 for 2 vanillas, play with your hand. More plussing, more ways to get your vanillas as soon as possible, more things you can just do in the deck with the engine already going on in. You'll notice that I do not run any Sentinels. I think Sentinels are super overrated. I've come to a point where I'm starting to realize that Sentinels can do you more harm than good. You have a Sentinel in your hand, yay. Then your opponent's like, guard restrict. That Sentinel's a dead card. So I actually have been starting to do this thing where I just stop running Sentinels in a lot of my decks, or I'll only run like 1 or 2. There are so many clans at this point that have some kind of guard restrict, some kind of whatever, that I've come to a point where, like, what's the point of even having Sentinels, right? Of course, perfect guards are nice, and like, I'm not saying not run perfect guards. Like, maybe you can take this out and run your 2 perfect guards, whatever you want to do, especially in like a protect clan. I don't think it matters too much, but in the Force and Excel, I totally understand perfect guards. And then obviously the over trigger, I kind of briefed by it. This is the over trigger this is like the Cray Element over trigger. Of course, within time, I'm sure we'll have a Bermuda specific over trigger, but this is the one that gives 1 million power to 1 unit, 1 million power to another unit. Keep in mind, if you get this on your drive check, this is actually pretty good, because you can just put 1 million power on your restanding units and probably end game with it, as long as you land other vanillas that helps you restand. And yeah, that's pretty much that part of the deck. So let's go into the strides over here. So here we have the strides. Of course, you want to run 4 copies of this. The sooner you flip this, the stronger you can get. the faster you'll finish game. Shandi because, you know, just extra multi-attack. Balanara because Balanara, we have a lot of plussing going on. Balanara actually is really good as it literally forces your opponent to have to discard. If your opponent tries to guard and they just can't, you pretty much negate guarding. You discard stuff for them to not be able to guard. So pretty much what happens is like you get into a point where they just can't guard anymore and they die. Right, you end your triggers, you end your whatever, it's just GG. Of course, I won one Megiddo. Megiddo is not like necessary, but you can have it. I personally always have trouble actually getting Megiddo to pop off in like literally any deck. Like I just never have that moment where I can Megiddo in. Usually I can just end game even without Megiddo, so that's just my personal thing with Megiddo, but it's just nice to have for that like 1 in a million chance when you use it. We got Cho-Cho for the restand, Vanguard restand, extra pressure, all this stuff. Anj for more defensive plays. I personally think though, if you have to shrine to Anj, you're dead. It's just the best way to put it. If you're starting to Anj, you're probably dead. Like, it's nice that you can bring everything back, but because so many things can loop right now and do stupid things that even if you bring your entire board back, you're probably still gonna die. The extra drive check is nice and all, but you're still gonna die. Like it's pretty rough. Priscilla. So I went Priscilla because GB8 is just really nice on her, and it's literally just a better version of Cyclone. So say you like do this and you're somehow still alive and you don't want to bank on this multi-attack, you can go into this multi-attack. Her skill is literally when she attacks, bring everything back, call stuff out, call whatever you want out, and you pretty much just end game. Everything gets 5k, everything gets power. Pretty much you swing with your rear, swing with her, swing with your rears again. Like that's pretty much like, it's like a guaranteed, like it's gonna happen so long as they're in GB8. The deck does like get to this part of the GB pretty quickly, so you can probably get to GB8 pretty fast. This is like a very, very end game finisher though. I wouldn't rely on it, but it's there. So I just realized this card is actually unplayable. So take this card out and put in like, so you can replace that with another Leona, another G guard or something like that. So we're just gonna pretend that card's not there. Bye-bye card. Amoris states when placed, you pretty much take 2 rearguards, put it back. It's just for like a defensive vanilla turn. Pretty much what you do with her is you just bring your stuff back and you swing in the rear or something if you just want to get your triple drive but you don't want to give your opponent damage. Just a really nice way to just push that out without having to do much. And then we run 1 Citron because Citron lets you bring out Hanoi out and other things. When you guard, you can place a grade 1 or higher down. You can put a grade 2 down if you want, just for extra defense for whatever floats your boat. Obviously 2 Sandy because Sandy's just really dumb. You need Sandy. She literally, you can get so flip another G unit, and it is a GB1, keep that in mind, but you'll get it, doesn't matter. And pretty much for every card in your hand you get 5k. So if you say you have like 10 cards in your hand, that's for every 2, so that's 5, so that's 25k. Then you can counterblast to get another 5k, so that's 30k. So that's 45k guard in total. It just makes it really nice for the guard. One of the best G guards in the clan right now. I run a 1 Rectome. You need Rectome just in case you want to like discard something you don't need. You can even discard a present to draw. It's just a nice way to push your opponent just a little bit further, and then we can just pretend that this is another Citron. Another Citron or just any other G guard. Leona is also good. I did want to show you guys at least kind of like a combo of how this deck works, so let's go ahead and kind of showcase that here real quick, just so you guys kind of understand how the deck works, and then I'll probably just end it there. So this is your grade 2 turn, right? Your opponent gave you 2 damage. Say this is like some kind of hand, and then we need some soul under here. Anyway, so this is what your opponent did. You can also do something like this, for example, so you can actually ride a vanilla, do something like this in case you want to use the skill multiple times. You do have to have 4 units, and that includes Vanguard, so this does work. Anyway, so her skill set, so you can use her skills. It says Counterblast, search your deck for one of these. So you search your deck for one of these, you ride it. His skill set to Soul Blast 2, so we're gonna go ahead and Soul Blast 2 units. So then look at top 7 for like some vanillas. So say you get like a grade 2, a grade 1 or something like that. It could be whatever you want to be, put into your hand. And cool beans. Then it says if you have 4 or more units with the ability, which in this case actually it would work that way, but you can do the ability, you can counterblast, stride into your Cyclone. So you just, oh yeah, this card literally states flip a Cyclone face up, right? So you already have one face up, my bad. So then you stride straight into it. All your rearguards just got pumped like crazy, so they all have the 5k now. And then you just go on that freaking swinging spree, right? So you can swing like something like this with the boost right here. And this is 15, and this would be actually, so 16 plus 5, so 21. And then you swing with your van, you can do something like this. And if you drive check vanillas, so if when you drive check a vanilla, you restand something, drive check another vanilla, you restand something, could be anything by the way, and then you can say like you whip or something, you get this, that won't activate, but you still get the restand, so then you can just pop off again and swing again and kind of just finish your turn. That's the route you can go with the Thunder element. You can also, if you really want to, say you don't want to go into your cycle. You can also just go straight into your Meer, pick up your present, right? Get a present, all that stuff. Keep in mind if your cyclones are up, so say you have like several cyclones just from like doing stuff early game, you can have something like this on your board. And you can literally, if you want, you can first turn, if you go first, you can just go into her, pick up your present. You can go into her, pick up your presents, and keep in mind, during battle phase, reveal a present, right? So, and I have like 2 cycles out. Each column is now 30 plus, right? So this is 17 base plus 30. And this is, you would actually want it, something like that, right? And this would be also 17 base plus 30. So these are each 47. On top of the fact, she does have a skill where you look at your top cards. So you look at your top 2 from her skill, and you can actually stack them in whatever order you want, and then put them on top. So if you land like heals on top, say you land heals, crits, you can actually stack them in whatever order you want, and that way when you swing with your Vanguard, you already know what your drive check is. So, and you can also choose to even call from the top. So the skill literally states Cannonblast, Soul Blast. Look at top 2. You may call up to 1 to the board. You may put it back. So you may put up to 1 to the board, and the rest you can put back on top. So you can usually put nothing to the board and literally take both cards, put them on top. So say you have crits, you can just put it back. You have heals, you can put it back in whatever order you want. Or say you have like a unit and a crit trigger, you can call the unit. Or if they're both units, you just call one of the units. So it pretty much gives you the ability to just like prepare your turn, and your opponent has to really think through how they're going to guard. Keep in mind, this also gives you a force marker, so you can put like a force 1 or a force 2 on here. But usually this is kind of like the engine you'll have with Meer, and your hand will just keep getting like really huge. Like your hand will just keep stacking like crazy. So you really don't have to have much concern for your hand and what's going on. You'll probably be okay. It's mainly just surviving like loops and stopping loops. So you want to just keep in mind of your Hanamis and stuff like that. Make sure they're on the board to keep yourself safe. So we're back in the full screen, and yeah, I hope you like that deck profile. It's definitely a deck I'm still experimenting with. Just keep in mind I don't have the deck fully like figured out yet. I'm still experimenting. But yeah, guys, if you try the profile, let me know how you feel about it and all that fun stuff. If you tried out something different or something similar, tell me how you feel about it, or Twitter. You can also add me at outer_orange and tell me about your deck profiles and all that stuff, and I'll give you the deck code for this as well. Other than that, guys, it's been real, it's been fun. Peace out, dos svidania, and see you guys next time. Bye.